OpenAI 第12天的活动，也就是最后一天的活动，它放出了一个大招，直接推出了 OpenAI O3模型，直接跳过了 O2。我们打开这个博客来看一下，这里它显示的是对 O3模型预览的一个解释。如果你想要立马体验这个模型，可以点击这个博客来看一下。这里它提醒我们，它的体验期将于2024年12月20号开放，也就是昨天进行开放。截止日期呢是2025年1月10日。这里它也告诉我们，也会在明年的1月开始向用户推出。你需要填一下名字、姓名地方以及邮件，然后告诉他你做一些介绍，就可以体验它的内容。同时，这个发布会还更新了一个论文，深思熟虑的对其推理使用语言模型更安全。我会在这里看直播，我会边看边评论，有的时候会暂停一下，跳过一下。我们先来看一下直播。
We started this 12-day event 12 days ago with the launch of O1, our first reasoning model. It's been amazing to see what people are doing with that and very gratifying to hear how much people like it. We view this as sort of the beginning of the next phase of AI, where you can use these models to do increasingly complex tasks that require a lot of reasoning. And so for the last day of this event, we thought it would be fun to go from one frontier model to our next frontier model. Today, we're going to talk about that next frontier model, which you would think logically maybe should be called O2, but out of respect to our friends at Telefonica, and in the grand tradition of OpenAI being really, truly bad at names, it's going to be called O3. Actually, we're not going to we're going to announce two models today, O3 and O3 Mini. O3 is a very, very smart model. O3 Mini is an incredibly smart model, but a really good at performance and cost. So to get the bad news out of the way first, we're not going to publicly launch these today. The good news is we're going to make them available for public safety testing starting today. You can apply, and we'll talk about that later. We've taken safety testing seriously as our models get more and more capable, and at this new level of capability, we want to try adding a new part of our safety testing procedure, which is to allow public access for researchers that want to help us test. We'll talk more at the end about when these models, when we expect to make these models generally available, but we're so excited to show you what they can do, to talk about their performance. Got a little surprise. We'll show you some demos, and without further ado, I'll hand it over to Mark to talk about it.
果然，最重要的一天 ，OpenAI 的赛姆奥特曼开始发布会。他讲了一下他推出的一个 O1 模型，进而对 O3 模型的一个命名，也告诉我们现在不能使用，只是用于公共领域的一个安全测试，未来肯定会可以使用的。我们接着来看。
And I want to start with coding benchmarks. You can bring those up. So on software style benchmarks, we have SweBench Verified, which is a benchmark consisting of real-world software tasks. We're seeing that O3 performs at about 71.7% accuracy, which is over 20% better than our O1 models. Now, this really signifies that we're really climbing the frontier of utility as well. On competition code, we see that O1 achieves an ELO on this contest coding site called Codeforce is about 1891. At our most aggressive high test time compute settings, we're able to achieve almost like a 27 ELO here.
So Mark was a competitive programmer, actually still coaches competitive programming. Very, very good. What is your?
I think my best at a comparable site was about 2,500.
That's tough.
Well, I will say, our chief scientist, this is also better than our chief scientist Jakob's score.
I think there's one guy at OpenAI who's still like a 3,000 something.
Yeah,
that'll be a few more months to enjoy.
Hopefully we have a couple months to enjoy there. Great.
I mean, this model is incredible at programming.
Yeah, and not just programming, but also mathematics. So we see that on competition math benchmarks, just like competitive programming, we achieve very, very strong scores. So O3 gets about 96.7% accuracy versus an O1 performance of 83.3% on the AMI.
What's your best AMI score?
I did get a perfect score once.
All right.
So I'm safe. But really what this signifies is that O3 often just misses one question whenever we test it on this very hard feeder exam for the USA Mathematical Olympiad. There's another very tough benchmark, which is called GPQA Diamond. And this measures the model's performance on PhD level science questions. Here we get another state-of-the-art number, 87.7%, which is about 10% better than our O1 performance, which was at 78%. Just to put this in perspective, if you take an expert PhD, they typically get about 70% in kind of their field of strength. here. So one thing that you might notice, from some of these benchmarks is that we're reaching saturation for a lot of them, or nearing saturation. So the last year has really highlighted the need for really harder benchmarks to accurately assess where our frontier models lie. And I think a couple have emerged as fairly promising over the last months. One in particular I want to call out is Epic AI's Frontier Math benchmark. Now, you can see the scores look a lot lower than they did for the previous.
这里呢，其实就是老婆卖瓜自夸，他夸了一下自己在代码方面、数学方面以及深度思考方面的一些分数，表明它的准确性越来越高，并且达到了前所未有的饱和状态。这个时候呢，他就会需要一些自己评估自己的一种方法，所以他的模型能力是没有问题的，表明了自己的一个观点。这里呢，他邀请了一个人员来参加这个活动，就是一项合作 ARC。我们来看一下。
Very much for having us today.
Of course.
Hello, everybody. My name is Greg Camrad, and I'm the president of the ARC Prize Foundation. Now, ARC Prize is a nonprofit with the mission of being a North Star towards AGI through and during benchmarks. So our first benchmark, ARC AGI, was developed in 2019 by Francois Chollet in his paper on the measure of intelligence. However, it has been unbeaten for 5 years. Now, in AI world, it feels like centuries is where it is. So the system that beats ARC AGI is going to be an important milestone towards general intelligence. But I'm excited to say today that we have a new state-of-the-art score to announce. Before I get into that, though, I want to talk about what ARC AGI is. So I would love to show you an example here. ARC AGI is all about having input examples and output examples.
Well, they're good.
They're good? Okay. Input examples and output examples. Now, the goal is you want to understand the rule of the transformation and guess it on the output. So, Sam, what do you think is happening in here?
Probably putting a dark blue square in the empty space.
See, yes, that is exactly it. Now, that is really, it's easy for humans to intuitively guess what that is. It's actually surprisingly hard for AI to understand what's going on. So I want to show one more hard example here. Now, Mark, I'm going to put you on the spot. What do you think is going on in this task?
Okay, so you take each of these yellow squares, you count the number of colored kind of squares there, and you create a border of that width.
That is exactly it, and that's much quicker than most people. So
这段直播呢，它表明的是 ARC AGI， 主要讲了一下 AGI 以及它使用 O3 来实现 AGI 的一个过程合作的效果非常好。接下来呢，它展示了一下它的一个代码的能力，我们来看一下。
Of O3 Mini. So on the left-hand side, we show the coding evals. So it's like code versus elo, which measures how good a programmer is, and the higher is better. So as we can see on the plot, with more thinking time, O3 Mini is able to have like increasing elo, outperforming O1 Mini, and with like median thinking time, it's able to measure even better than O1.
Yes, it's like for an order of magnitude more speed and cost, we can deliver the same code performance on this
or even better experience, right? So although it's like the O3 Mini High is still like a couple 100 points away from Mark, it's not far. It's better than me, probably.
Just an incredible sort of cost to performance gain for what we've been able to offer with O1, and we think people will really love this.
Yeah, I hope so. So on the right-hand plot, we show the estimated cost versus code versus elo trade-off. So it's pretty clear that O3 Mini defines like a new cost-efficient reasoning frontier on coding. So it's achieved like better performance, compared with better performance than O1 with a fraction of cost.
Amazing.
With that being said, I would like to do a live demo.
That sounds great.
On O3 Mini. And hopefully you can test out all the 3 different like low, medium, high thinking time of the model. So let me paste the prompt. So I'm testing out O3 Mini High first. And the task is that I'm asking the model to use Python to implement a code generator and executor. So if I launch this, run this like Python script, it will launch a server and locally with a UI that contains a text box. And then we can make coding requests in a text box. It will send the request to call O3 Mini API, and O3 Mini API will solve the task and return a piece of code. And it will then save the code locally on my desktop and then open a terminal to execute the code automatically. So it's a
very complicated,
pretty complicated task, right? And it outputs like a big chunk of code. So if we copy the code and paste it to our server, and then we would like to launch this server.
So we should get a text box when you're launching it.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Oh yeah,
I hope so.
Yeah.
It seems we're launching something.
Okay.
Oh, great. we have a UI where we can enter some coding prompts. Let's try out a simple one, like print OpenAI and a random number. Submit. So it's sending the request to O3 Mini medium, so it should be pretty fast, right? So on this
41.
terminal, 41. That's the magic number, right? So it saves the generated code to this like local script on the desktop and then print out OpenAI 41. Is there any other tasks you guys want to test it out?
I wonder if you could get it to.
这里他讲了一下他代码的强大的力量，其实它就是我自己的一个理解，他把整个复杂的过程直接简化为普通人都可以使用的。后面有代码的运行、代码的展示，你只要使用自然语言，你就可以完成你想要完成的一个结果，并且是展现到你的桌面上，那样呢就非常的有吸引力。也非常的提高效率，我们任何人都可以使用，你只要是会说自然语言，只要会说自然话就可以来实现。关于这个视频直播呢，我分享完了，如果你有什么样的问题，可以点击下方进行评论，我们下一个视频再见。